Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League Show podcast. FPL is back, and I, for one, am absolutely buzzing. I'm the FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today are my usual suspects of Barry Stokes and Scott Williams. Scott, I can see you're already looking at your phone for the first time at fantasy football. Since the World Cup ended, I can't wait to listen to you talk about this. Your team. Can I give me a couple of highlights? What players are still in your team that shouldn't be?
It's just taken me 15 minutes to remember my password. I'm not sure what Kanati's doing in there for a start. I really don't know what I was thinking there. I think I asked one of our good friends, Cully, if he'd play, and he said yes. Pretty sure he didn't play the last game. And Gordon. Harry Kane's worried me now. Can't take pens, so I'm not sure what he's doing in there. He might have to come out. I don't know. I'm just gonna listen to you two because you absolute chalk and cheese compared to me. I've not looked at it. You two have probably looked at it every day still.
Since England got knocked out, basically, I've started looking at it again. Because that's for me when the World Cup ended, really, except for probably the greatest game of football I ever watched in my life in terms of the final. But Baz, how you doing? You excited for FPL to return?
Yeah, it literally kind of same as you, but since Wales got knocked out, I was literally doing about 50 million drafts of who's going in. So quite early on.
Yeah,
that's when the clocks were different time, wasn't it? Not that long ago when Wales got knocked out.
Well, today, thank you ever so much for everyone tuning in and joining in. If you want to follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, and social media platforms, Unfootball Pod, Unfootball P, and don't forget to like the video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, as well as subscribe to wherever you get your podcast from. If you are listening on podcasts, Spotify, Apple, etc., etc. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a lot to cover today. We've got the World Cup just to round off. We've got to cover England. We did our poll on Instagram. Thank you, everyone who took part in that in terms of Southgate in or out. Then we've got to cover the return of FPL. And we're going to go through our watch list, and then we'll see the FPL gurus, the guy who's at 4 million in the world's first draft. So these are the 15 players to avoid. Let's talk about the World Cup. Baz, got some stats for us, haven't you? On the World Cup.
A few records, yeah.
Fire away.
So the one that's interesting, scored the most goals, 172, but it's had the most nil-nils. It's had 8 nil-nils. So
Madness.
Obviously there's been quite a few goals galores flying in. Obviously first woman to officiate in a World Cup match. Morocco, enough said about that one, did really well. First African team to get actually to the semi-finals.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second hat-trick, but in my eyes, the first hat-trick that actually should have counted.
It was over the line.
Then, obviously, Ronaldo scoring in 5. And then Argentina actually getting awarded 5 penalties in the whole tournament. So that's the most ever. And obviously Messi just smashing the records in Argentina, and I think to end the debate about the GOAT.
I was going to say, is that it now? Like in your eyes, Scott? I mean, I don't like these debates really that much anyway, because I know they're very generational. But in our generation, does that end the debate?
The very generational, the very what's happened in the last few months out there. Let's be honest, we've all. The careers of Messi and Ronaldo couldn't have been more polar opposites over the last couple of months. One of them's really just let himself down, in my opinion, in Ronaldo, which we've talked about previously.
Yeah.
And the other guy's just got his head down and inspired a nation to win a World Cup. So, yeah, I was one that was saying before all this, when Ronaldo was moaning and stuff, it's really put me on Messi. And this World Cup I've got such a man crush on that man on the screen right there for anyone watching on YouTube. Lionel Messi, he is the greatest of all time, and he's certainly the greatest of our generation. And he was amazing. He was absolutely amazing. I thought, is he over the hill? Is he just going to be bit back, play little bits of magic? But he was fantastic. He rightly won that best player of the tournament award. I thought he was brilliant. So yeah, the GOAT.
I couldn't agree more. Perfect analysis. I think it almost made me want him to win it more because of the way Ronaldo had conducted himself. And I'll be honest, I'm not an Argentina fan really, but even I was sat there watching the final, going, yeah, kind of hope they win more for Messi than anything else. And Mbappe to score a hat trick though in the final was just, I mean, because honestly, I watched the game, I thought he was terrible for 70 odd minutes, and then he just suddenly decided to change the game. He's the only, say, other than Jeff Hurst to score a hat trick in a final, and then his other records, the only teenager additional with Pele to score in the World Cup final that he did before, which is just, I mean, he's with just a Jeff Hurst and Pele. Mbappe was unbelievable. Was it the best final you've ever seen?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's any debate about it for me.
I mean, as a final in general, just across all finals I've ever watched, I would say it's up there with the drama of Istanbul, the drama of Man United Bayern Munich, and for my perspective, when Scunthorpe beat Millwall 3-2, which was genuinely a great game. If anyone's not watched that, have a go on YouTube. It's got one of the best goals you'll ever see in a final, not by a Scunthorpe player, it was by a Millwall player, but it's right up there with those, and for me, comfortably the best that I've ever seen in the final. It was. I was putting it in our football chat. I literally was struggling to breathe. I was knackered. It's like the amount of groans coming out of my voice in this living room. I don't know what the names thought was going on here, but I couldn't believe it. What was going on? Like you say, from 70 minutes, it was a bit meh. But bloody hell, the rest of the game, my days, what drama!
Amazing. Wanted to cover off a controversial topic first of all. So the bish that Messi was made to wear when he lifted the trophy, the little robe, as Gary Lineker described it as. Just so everyone does know, it's sort of a Qatari tradition of and it's like about nobility, and it's about being like basically. It's one of the highest honors you can give somebody in Qatar to put the to put that robe on the person. And I, for one, found it very annoying. And I found it annoying, and I tried to ask myself the real question as to why did I find it annoying? Why did I not like it? And was it to do with it being a Qatari tradition and the fact that I wasn't comfortable with the World Cup being in the first place? Actually, it wasn't, because then I asked myself the question of if someone whacked a sombrero on him, would it annoy me? Yeah, it would. If someone put, like any other tradition, it would annoy me. I kept the final on in the background to watch him lift that trophy for however long it took for him to actually get to the stage to lift the trophy, when Infantino, or whatever, that complete mess of a man, decided he was going to actually let go of the trophy and give it to Messi and stop touching him on the back. But I was waiting for that moment to see that photo that's on the screen right now, basically, him in his Argentina shirt lift it. And I was like, and I found it quite annoying, actually, that it wasn't in his kit. But hey, that's my perspective on it.
I'll do it. You here, Alex. I completely agree.
The Robe of Kings. That's why I got told it was like the Robe of Kings. So it's a great honour for Messi to wear it. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, it'd have been nice if you can actually see him lifting with the Argentina top on and not with the robe on. But
I think when you see pictures about him winning the World Cup, I think it speaks volumes that you see this one on the screen, and then you see the one where he's kissing it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is 72 million. It passed the egg in the most liked photo on Instagram. What an absolute day. Let's talk about teams of the tournament. So I got this one up, which was a BBC Sport one about the Opta World Cup, and this is just Opta stats about the World Cup. It's in front of me here. But lads, if you could talk, just name your team of the tournament, and just maybe give one or two mentions or moments or of highlights of why you've got that person in. We'll try to cover it off, do about a minute each or something. So if you want to start, Barry, go from you.
So I've got the same goalkeeper, Livakovic. He made the most saves at the World Cup, made 25 saves. So that's an incredible stat. And he was just basically just a penalty king. He saved so many penalties as well. Right back, I've got Hakimi, like obviously BBC's got on there for YouTube watchers. It was just basically summed up Morocco, really, because Morocco was all energy, all impact, all going to hammer and tongs. And Gvardiol, or whatever you pronounce it, centre back, he was just a rock. Apart from when Messi turned him left, right, and centre in the game, but he was class. I ain't gone Marquinhos for my other centre back. I've gone for Saez. Morocco centre back. Obviously, he was a big miss when he came off. He was doing really well.
I'm doing a timer on you, Baz. I can't help it. Because otherwise we could talk about this all day. Right, 1 minute 20 to go.
Left back, I've got same. And then midfield, I've got Ambarat, Griezmann, Bellingham, Messi, Mbappe, and then Alvarez, because Alvarez does the work rate for Messi to be a free roll. There you go, done.
Oh, here he is. He's got there. He smashed it through. You had another minute left as well, Baz. Right. Sorry.
I'll smash it up here. So Scott can have some talk.
That was even faster than I thought. Scotty, 130, go.
Yeah, well, I don't think I need that. I'm very similar to Baz and very similar to here. Martin, for me, one thing I will say, for someone to be in the team of the tournament, that doesn't make a semi-final at least. They needed to have done something extraordinary. And I don't personally believe anyone did do that. You know, Maguire had a great tournament, Fernandes, etc. But for me, no one stuck out. Martinez for me in goal. I feel like if it weren't for him, they wouldn't have won the World Cup. That last second save and then his absolute housery in goal was amazing. Hernandez left back, same. Guardiola, same. Hakimi, same. Put Romero. I thought it was class for Argentina at centre back. Amrabat in the middle as well. I put Fernandes for Argentina. Came in sort of the last group game, I believe.
Excellent.
And he was a big difference to them. Big difference. And for what, 20-year-old or whatever he is, he'll be getting snapped up. Where's he in Portugal, isn't it, at the minute, I believe. Benfica, he'll be getting snapped up. Mbappe, obviously. Griezmann, obviously. The work rate he did for me was different class, especially against England. Messi, Ovs, and then I agree with Alvarez. Big difference when he came in for Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez had a terrible tournament, didn't he? Let's be honest. And then he missed that header at the end, and then which was after the great save by Martinez from was it Thuram or who was it who had the shot? The other lad who came on for when
French lad.
French
lad, probably Scott.
French lad. I love that. Yeah, the French lad. Yeah, amazing tournament on the pitch, I've got to say. So, but I do have to mention a few of the one of the issues that I've had, I think, towards the end of the tournament. I feel like some of the issues that were surrounding the tournament being held in the first place were probably overshadowed or not talked about as much after the initial refusal of the One Love armband and taking a yellow card for wearing it. But never mind the bribery and corruption and surrounding the potential awarding of it. You know, the £1.5 million in brown envelopes being given to the guys from Africa and whatever else in a room, and the £1.5 million that was obviously given to the blind referee that refereed France against England. With the two tournaments together, so they got their payday, but there was £250 billion spent, which is 10 times more than any other tournament. They basically had to build up an entire city from scratch for it. And you know, they actually admitted that nearly 500 workers have died in the creating of the tournament, but it could be anything up to 6,500 migrant workers. I mean, some of these guys were working 50-degree heat, and cardiac arrest and heat stress were one of the main reasons for causes of death. And I think 70% of the deaths in Qatar weren't even classified because they came under that title. So they didn't even report them, which is why the numbers are where they are. But I mean, these guys were working for 75p an hour. And then a lot of them got sent home in debt because some of the jobs weren't even finished, and they had recruitment fees to pay for. And I think it was a very sanitized version of Qatar that everyone saw, because apparently the authorities were told the LGBTQ plus community basically to stay away and stay at home. There were alcohol-friendly zones because that would make them money, but there were no LGBT plus Q plus friendly zones. Shocker that wouldn't have made them any money. But in terms of the positives, hopefully it'll compel cultural progression in that part of the world, maybe, and it brought football to that part of the world, which there are positives to that. That has to be said, but yeah, I think we need to not forget that was in the background of what was going on there. Southgate, Scott.
One sec. Before we go on Southgate, I want to pick your two brains about having the World Cup in winter. What was your thoughts on that?
it grew on me, as in the fact that I love football that much. I was always going to get into a football tournament. But look, a World Cup is for beer gardens and for having barbecues and that. I would never want a tournament in the winter ever again.
I completely agree, Scott. How boring is this? No, I completely agree. And yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it, but I also felt like, and this is more of a selfish thing, this time of the year, I have a lot more like personal commitments, and it's just that one of those things. Like I'd have much preferred it in the beer garden.
Did they not consult the FPL guru before they put it in the winter? Because
you know what? It really annoyed me.
His ranking.
Yeah, they only did the first 4.5 million people, and they got bored after that.
These guys can't be playing now, mate.
Oh, these guys can't be playing fantasy football anymore. Surely,
that must be a dead. I'm classed as a dead team. I think.
You are.
My take on it, I actually really enjoyed it, because quite a lot of the big European clubs anyway have a winter break anyway. So, and sometimes there's injuries and people lose out because of that. And in the summer as well, I think some people's already got the flip flops on and that, where they've got to actually go back and play proper matches again. So it was high intense, basically all year round. So that's one of the reasons why I liked the winter.
It's got to be debated though, Baz, isn't it? Because you know we have the most goals in the tournament. You know, is that because there were more players playing here that were more, you know, in the groove and a tiny bit fresher maybe, or whatever else? And yeah, that just has to be talked about and has to be discussed. Really, it won't be the last time it happens, I'm sure. Especially if
it's going to be it's a World Cup. It's not, as we touched upon in previous pod, it has to go across the world, not just Europe and South America. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's go on to the Southgate chat.
Yes. 73% of you said he should remain in our Instagram poll. He's got the job until Euro 2024. I've seen quite a few heated debates actually about it, and I don't really think it's that much of a heated debate. But I just wanted to talk about Southgate, England's exit. So I think we'll start by talking about the France game, and then we'll get on Southgate itself. But obviously we lost the game 2-1, which was a real shame and a real blow. First goal was definitely a foul on Saka in the build-up. Second one hit Maguire. Missed 2 penalties. I think with a better team. It's just one of those games where I genuinely thought it was a bit of a 50-50 match, and we came off on the wrong side of the 50-50. Kane's penalty analysis. I did a bit of this. He's taken 2 pens in a game 6 times. 5 times he's gone for the top left corner with the second penalty. There's only 1 time he hasn't, and I think that was against either San Marino or Bulgaria. But he scored both against San Marino, Panama, and Bulgaria, all in decent wins. And he's missed the first penalty against Liverpool and the second penalty against Frankfurt and France. So one of the questions that came out was, should Kane have taken the second penalty? Yeah. That's actually a question. I think it's a yes. I think it's a clear yes. I think it's ridiculous.
It's a designated penalty for a reason. So why would you
I think the only asterisk to that is the guy who's facing in goal.
Yeah.
Has he got in his head a bit?
Yeah.
But he's rubbish at saving penalties.
Yeah, he is.
Isn't he?
Yeah. Plus, like, obviously Mbappe's, look, there's no one. Someone else takes that penalty, they miss it, they're then a villain. Why didn't you keep it to Kane? Why didn't you at least it's just our best, like Baz says, our best penalty takers took the penalty. He skied it. I think, it is what it is.
Too pumped up.
Talk about the game, Scott. What do you think?
Yeah, well, from what I can remember, I was pretty drunk. Them shots, weren't there? Anyway, it was a, we played so much better than I thought we would have played against France. I was so scared. Like, Mbappe did not have a sniff at all in that game. And we, like I said, we controlled it. Well, second half especially, we've come out, we've got a difference. I think we all said, didn't we, at half time when we were chatting about it, it was like, look, we don't want to go out of this tournament on a whimper. We want to give it a go. And we did in the second half. We were a different team. I thought we pressed really well. I thought we battled hard. And I just think you just got to have a bit of a rub of the green in these kind of situations and tournaments. And like you said, I think the ref was appalling. And I don't think that's an English bias. I think Baz would agree. As a Welshman, he was absolutely terrible. And it's just gutting because we beat France I think we win the tournament. As much as it was written in the stands for Messi, etc., I just think we win it. Don't get me wrong. I think Morocco is a tough game, but I think we get by him because I think throughout the whole tournament we played better than France. When looking at the games, France did not particularly impress me, really. Most tournaments, other than at the 70-minute mark, the final. I think, yeah. So for me, it's the way we went out, the way that really hurt. It hurt a lot initially, but I was over it quite quickly compared to the Euro one where
oh god,
Euro, really,
I think it still hurts me, the Euros, compared to the getting out of the World Cup.
It must be said, like that hurt me for a good week, and like I say, it still hurts me. I was like proper down for a week with that one. Whereas this one, I'm like, do you know what? We couldn't have done much more. That penalty goes in and win the game because we beat him. We beat him in normal time. I think we nicked one late. So yeah.
It's with the stats in the game. So we had 7 shots on target compared to their 5, 4 shots off compared to their 2. We had 4 block shots compared to their 1. We had 57% possession. We had more corner kicks. We committed less fouls. We only got 1 yellow card in the whole tournament, and that was in it. We generally with a better team, throughout. But so this is where we'll start on the Southgate conversation, shall we? Because this is one of the main critiques of Southgate is being able to influence games within big games. So substitutions, did he make them too late? Did he make the right ones? And is this the same mistake we've seen in 3 now consecutive big matches in terms of delays, in terms of making them? What's your take on that side of the argument, Scott, for the negative towards Southgate?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I do. I'll be honest. Like, as much as I love Southgate, I was also one saying let's get subs on. I'm a big advocate of getting subs on if nothing's changed in the hour mark. Give the boys another 15 minutes going into the second half. If changes need to be made, get them on. I'm just looking now just to confirm. Yeah, 80th minute, Mount and Sterling were on. Again, I'm not. Look, you can't. I think the Mount one. I mean, he won the penalty. Like at the end of the day, I'm not a big advocate for Sterling coming on there. I'm never really a big advocate for Sterling coming on anyway. I think Rashford's got to be the one that comes on there for me, rather than when he came on in the 85th minute.
I feel like that 85th minute change and that 79th minute change, that Saka for Sterling and that Foden for Rashford should have been flipped almost. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Sterling should have come on at all because I think Saka should have stayed on. Yeah. But I think if he'd have gone Henderson and Foden off the Mount and Rashford at that point, I'd have had no problem with that.
Yeah, because you don't know what Sterling's head's at either. So he's had all that, the robbery and whatnot. So yeah. Look, I don't know. I don't know why we're bringing Jack Grealish on in the 98th minute.
Well, Stones was injured, wasn't he? That was why. And it was just a hit and hope.
For me, put Cody on. Put a centre back on.
Yeah, they just...
But, I think, 10 minutes too late. 70th minute, for me, is when I would do the subs. I'm not the England manager there, but, I've got an opinion. I would do them. I back his subs every time. When he brought Henderson on against, was it Wales? I backed him then, or he started him against Wales. Then he brought him
USA,
against US.
America to make the
name. I thought he was the best player when he came on, and I was back him. And I was with some of our friends, and they would, no, not Henderson. I was like, do you know what? Yes, Henderson. But yeah, too late for me.
I think this is one of the big criticisms that I have of him. Like, this is probably the main one that I have is that. Well, it is the main one. It's not probably the main one. It is the main one I have. Is in the late changes he made in Denmark in the semi-final, the fact that he reacted to the Italy goal in the final of the Euros, and he didn't make the change before, even though the game was blatantly going away from us. We had 1 shot on target in the whole game, and it was the Shaw goal. Like the game was going away from us. He then made the changes in this game after Giroud had scored. I don't know if he was planning to make them or not before. I don't know. I can't answer the question. But it felt like he then made the changes after Giroud scored rather than... but at the same time, I do get that we were in charge of the game and it was kind of a counter-attack to the delay. But I feel like he's made the same mistake 3 times in a row, really, a little bit. And that's the thing that frustrates me. Like the 4-3-3 though. I feel like everyone's sort of happier. Before this tournament, I said this should be his last tournament, really. But the way that we've gone out of the tournament, the fact that we've played progressive football, 4-3-3, we've been the better team in the biggest game that we've had, and we've sort of just come out on the wrong side of it. I think that's the real reason, because before the tournament, it was definitely, it was 50-50, and now we're looking at a 75% that we're happy staying. Do you think that those are the reasons?
Yeah, I think it's how we went out, 100%. I don't think it's going out at a quarter final. Like, I think if we've gone out in a way which has been, progressive football, like you say, and we're utilising, our best players. I think if we'd gone out to a 1-0 France where we've had 5 at the back and we've not really had any chances, then do you know what? I would probably be sat here saying, like, we need to freshen up. But the way we went out, say, outplaying the world champions, who were a penalty shootout away from winning it again. Like, I think he deserves a shot when it's only a year and a half towards the next tournament.
So that one of the debates that gets thrown around is, and what you have your say on this, Scott, is he's a nice guy. He's made the same mistakes. He's not beaten any big teams in big tournaments. He beat Germany, who got knocked out of both group stages in both the last 2 World Cups, and then Denmark in the semis, who got knocked out in a World Cup. He's only beaten 4 in 24 matches, 4 wins in 24 matches against top 10 teams since he's played. And he's not got a cool head in the big games to influence them. Those are the big critiques. Do you think that any of that's fair? And also, do you think we can win a big tournament with Southgate? Do you think, like your mum says on Instagram, go on, Judith, thank you for contributing. Do you think we can actually win the Euros?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I think he's got a cool head. Bloody hell, he's very cool. Like, he's almost too cool sometimes. I think he's very composed about his substitutions, and let's not forget, like, it's not just him. Like, he knows these players better than anyone. Like, he's also got coaches that he'll be liaising with. Steve Holland, for example, who's has been with them throughout the whole journey. I think we can win. Like, we've come ahead. We've come so close to winning. We've come a penalty shot away from winning the European Championship. We've come so close to beating Croatia and getting to a final. Look, I think we'd have lost the final in 2018 against that French team, the way they were playing. But we were close to getting to a final, winning it. We got to a Nations League final, which is no mean feat. Now we're relegated. Look, we've come very close to winning stuff. For me, the group of players he's got now, if we was to get a new manager in, it would be like, right, that's it. Let's try something completely different. He's got this group of players playing together, playing with, like, I loved all the media, and like they seem like the best pals and that, and they're playing for each other, and I love that. And they've got the quality. It's a year and a half to the Euros. Like, let's keep that mentality. If you bring someone in now, they're going to put their own stamp on it. And I think it's just going to disrupt stuff. Like, we're not in a situation like Germany are in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or Spain, or a Belgium. We're not in that situation. We're even a France. What more can Deschamps do? Like, I think we're in a situation similar to an Argentina, that kind of situation. So I think he gets the Euros. I think he goes regardless. Like, the fact that he's undenied about this, he's going to leave regardless after the Euros. But given the Euros, I think we've got a brilliant chance. Like, there's no Brazil, there's no Argentina in it. There's a fading Belgium side. This French team whatever, Spain, whatever. Like, I don't think we're going to be an unbelievable chance to win that Euros.
Yeah, 18 months away as well. It's short. Yeah. Baz, we've got 2 minutes left on this, and then I was going to move on to FPL. So over to you.
Appreciate it. Right.
Over to you to finish off.
My take on Southgate, right? And people are going to hate me for this. I think he's a fraud.
Love it. Go on. No, this is what I want to hear.
Honestly, the players that England have got, you should be up there. You should be up there anyway. Right. First off, in big games, he always plays contained football. No, just play what you play. You've got really good attacking players. Play attacking football from word off. I know you have to contain and stay in the game and stuff like that, but you could be outside. How many good players that England have got and how much they create. Second off, then that's where you start the high press and playing really well. It's a Jekyll and Hyde situation. I think he's tactically inadequate. I think the people to progress England, and obviously I'm for an English manager to be in charge of England, is either Eddie Howe or Potter. because they're very good tactically and they know how to win games. And yes, Southgate's won a few games, but as Scott mentioned, he hasn't won against big clubs, big nations. So that's why if you play, well, Argentina didn't really play a lot of big teams until they got to the final, but that's my take on it. I've kept it short and sweet for this. It's only had 2 minutes, but that's what I think. First half in big games, plays too defensive. Second half, he goes, crap, I need to pull my finger out here and actually play a bit more attacking. Does that, and they look better team.
Right, and
but
I think
tactically, he's not as good as other managers, and that's why he's been caught out when he took over a club team.
I think this summarises what a lot of people think. Like, we've got Baz who's an out, Scott who's an in, and I've got a massive pain in my backside because I'm sat on a fence. So I think that kind of summarises. Well, I'm more towards in after the way that we went out, though. That's
I think there's such less margin for error in international football than there is in club football. Like you say, Baz, I appreciate your opinions. I disagree with them all, but like you're an Eddie Howe and Potter. I know Potter's obviously had international. He's added internationals. He was under 21s, wasn't he? Have I made that up? Yeah, I think it was under 21 manager. But yeah, he's I think under 7. No, I'm thinking someone else. I'm thinking the bloody Forest manager. Anyway, Coops, he's Welsh anyway, isn't he? But anyway, yeah, you've got such less margin for error. Whereas if you're in a club game, you can do you know what? Bloody hell, we can just 2 days later we go again. It's only 3 points kind of thing. Whereas it's so close to going out of tournament when you're in a tournament. I get that there's a bit more freedom when it's in maybe the group stage, but still, we didn't want to be. If we'd lost to the US, for example, that makes that Welsh game nervy as hell against a Welsh team, which it was your final, wasn't it, against us? Rightly so.
We were just too defensive in that game, but I don't like.
Potter in, mate.
I don't think Page is any good. I'd have Cooper all day long. Forest was just sign a new contract.
Well, lads, good chat. Thanks for the World Cup stuff. I like that, and I wanted to try and draw it about half an hour and do half on that and then half on the FPL stuff. So I think we're in the top 17. Sorry, this is the November league table. So welcome back to the All in Football Podcast League. So let's have a conversation about the Manager of the Month award for November. Well done to Sandeep Punjan, who's top 139 points, ahead of Neil Ladd and Chris Clegg. It was only 2 game weeks in November. So well done to everybody there, and they join the elite club of the other 3 managers of the month, who we had Nicola Tomlinson, Jeffrey Belcher, and Dimple Hunjan. Oh God, that household's absolutely killing it with 1 manager of the month each, aren't they? Dimple and Sandy. Well done, guys. Wanted to cover off a couple of things very quickly, so I'm going to talk at you for about 2 minutes, and then we'll get into drafts. So, players that will be back late from the World Cup final, so players to avoid. Emi Martinez and Lissandro Martinez, McAllister, Alvarez and Romero. McAllister, by the way, this January transfer window is going to be mad after a World Cup over winter, isn't it? But they're the Argentinians. France squad, Canate, Varane and Lloris, and potentially Saliba, and even they didn't really play much. Croatia, Kovacic and Perisic, and Morocco had Ziyech and Aguerd from West Ham. So they'll all be back potentially late. So we've got 3 weeks here that are very close together. There's a chance that they'll miss all 3 games, never mind just the first 1 or 2. Another notable thing to point out is the players that are on 4 yellow cards. So I picked out some notable players that are on 4 yellow cards, and they've got to wait until their team has played 19 fixtures before they get not wiped, but the threshold for suspension goes up to 10 yellow cards. So we've got Saliba and McAllister again. We've got Leon Bailey, McGinn and Ramsey as well from Aston Villa. Mitrovic, important because he's a walking yellow card. Fabian Schär and Harry Kane were all on 4 yellow cards and very close to suspensions. I don't think that should sway your decisions too much, but it should weigh on your mind to potentially stay away from having Bailey, Kane, and Mitrovic all in one team. That's why I've pointed that out. And the injury news: Jesus, Richarlison, and Dalot all look like they're going to be out. Jesus for a while, Richarlison for a little bit, and Dalot again wasn't in the squad for United Burnley yesterday. Madison's lacking a bit of sharpness, but he'll probably be back in the squad. Fofana had a setback in the behind-the-scenes training friendly against Brentford, with the 1-5-1. Kepa has been training, though, and he's been back getting a few minutes, and so has Reece James. He got 60 minutes in the behind closed doors training session. Some key players there. And Ivan Toney is probably having a bet on the whole thing. So it's a risky one putting him in. He faces his charges on January the 4th, I think it is. And mid-season friendlies, we've seen some interesting results, actually. I'll just put them on here. Arsenal played quite a few games. 1-2, lost 2, drew 1. Erdegaard got a couple of goals, 3 goals, and Nketiah also scored. But they played 5 fixtures. Aston Villa played 4 fixtures, winning 1 of them, drawing 1 and losing 2. Brentford didn't get a win. They lost 2-1. But anyway, I'm not going through all of these. But there's an article on the Fantasy Premier League site if you want to have a look through who scored goals in the friendlies, and see who played. It's sort of been a sanitised version in that sense. There's hardly been as many players playing that should have done. And Darwin got 2 goals, and Salah got 1 in the most recent one. Right. Hope you enjoyed me talking it for a minute. Let's have a look at the fixture ticker, because we're back, baby. Top of the ticker for the next 7 game weeks, because it includes 2 double game weeks, is Manchester City with the Leeds away, Everton at home, Chelsea away. Then Man U Spurs is a double game week in game week 20, obviously pending an FA Cup replay. So if either themselves or Spurs have to take part in a 4th round replay, no, 3rd round replay, 4th round replay, 3rd round, then they'll that double game will be cancelled. Then they've got Wolves, and they've got Spurs again. And then they've got another double game week against Arsenal and Aston Villa. So, City, lads, I'll show you my draft in a second. The other teams at the top are Chelsea and Fulham, because they're double game weeks as well. You ready to see my draft? You ready? Very exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. So, my first draft that I've done, which is the main draft that I've been working off the basis for. It's got 3 City players in it. It's Cancelo, De Bruyne, and Haaland. So I've gone heavy hitting in terms of City. One question came in terms of goalkeeper rotation, and the best goalkeeper rotation by quite a long way, all the way up until game week 38, actually, but you have a wild card to play, is David De Gea and Danny Ward. That's the best goalkeeper rotation you've got. I've seen a lot of Kepas, because of double game weeks and the fact he's 4.5 million. Don't know if he's going to play or not 100%, but he's been in a lot. So De Gea and Ward are my keepers. At the back, I've gone with Cancelo, Trippier, Reece James, Perot from Southampton, who have a new manager, and then Nathan Patterson as my 4 million enabler. Then De Bruyne, Rashford, Almiron, Martinelli, and Andreas Pereira. And then up front, I've gone Haaland, Darwin, and Mitrovic. Initial takes on this, Baz? Initial takes. Any players that are on here that are locked for you as well, or any players on here that you think, what the hell are you doing, Guru?
I think the back 3 is quite solid. I don't think about the Southampton defender. I don't think Nathan Jones is going to steady the ship at Southampton, to be honest. I wouldn't have him in there. Martinelli, Almiron, and Rashford. Yeah, De Bruyne speaks for himself, really. It's just obviously quite a large sum. And I think your front 3 is near enough what I've kind of put in mind. So, yeah, it's a good one. Good.
Yeah. The short list of players I had wasn't that long. I had 44 players on it. So it wasn't, the most detailed list. Let's go back to the fixtures, shall we? If I can find them. So there are a couple of runs that we need to take note of here, and Chelsea being one of them. This is one of the big debates about Chelsea assets, because we have to remember when we go back to the Premier League table that Chelsea haven't won any of their last 5 Premier League games before they come back to this. They're 8th in the table. They lost 4-1 to Brighton, 1-0 to Arsenal, and then 1-0 to Newcastle. So 2 tough games. They lost 1-0, but they've only scored 1 goal in those last 3 games, and 2 goals in their last 5. So I've seen a lot of Mason Mounts on a lot of drafts. I've seen some people punting on Sterling, Aubameyang's, Havertz's, whatever. My first bit of advice, I'd stay so far away from that. It's crazy. And then also, I wouldn't be massively keen on double Chelsea defence, which is one of the other reasons why I've not gone near Kepa and I've just gone with Reece James, because I think he's the most explosive one. Lads, your take on Chelsea, because they are a heavily talked about team with their fixtures being Bournemouth at home, Forest away, double game week of City at home and Fulham away, followed by Palace at home. Yes, Liverpool away, but then Fulham at home. So they've got a good run of fixtures in this 6.
I think with this break in the World Cup, you can't look too much at form now. If I'm honest, like some players will have gone away and absolutely smashed the World Cup. Some players will have gone away and had a tough time in it, and might just be wanting to be happy to come back to the club. There's obviously those clubs that lower down the league that haven't had as many players go to the World Cup. They've had that whole squad together, etc., for some time. So I'm personally not looking too much at form right now, because there's been a big enough gap for players to sort of reset a little bit. So I think for me, I'll be going quite safe this first few weeks. I won't, like you said, I'm not going to be going for a Chelsea attacker just because they looked a bit bland, and it's not like a Mason Mount absolutely ripped up the World Cup. It's not like an Aubameyang, we want him in there, but whoever else, Havertz, it wasn't like he scored like loads of goals and looked amazing for Germany. So it's not like I want to be jumping on one of them. So I would be potentially looking at a defensive asset, especially a Reece James, who's obviously had time to recover and play these minutes and stuff. But no, I wouldn't be ripping up to get Chelsea attackers in.
Just to touch on Mason Mount briefly. So he's played 14 games this season. 14? I think it's 14 games. Yeah, 2 blanks in the middle. He's played 14 games this season, and he's had 11 blanks. 1 assist against Southampton, 2 big hauls against Wolves at home and then Villa away, a 12 and a 15-pointer. But the rest of the time, he's never got more than 3 points in a game. So he can get you returns in these games, because let's be honest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the next 7, they're decent fixtures. So that he can. He's a bit of a. I think he's a bit of a differential, 6.6%, and he's a bit of a gamble. But yeah, I wouldn't be, like I say, if you're playing it safe, I wouldn't be going with him as well. Reece James still got a flag on him, but he has been playing a little bit. I mean, he's not played since game week 10, but and his points were 1, 2, and 1 after. But he did start the season on fire with 7, 7, 1, and 7, and he is probably their best player in terms of attacking returns. So I think that with the fixtures, you probably should take a gamble on at least one Chelsea player in your team. I can understand why you wouldn't, but I think you should look at it, because I agree with you in terms of how much weight you put on these fixtures compared to form. I think we're definitely more on fixture than we are on form. I think form has to just be thought about, but at the same time, we're more on fixture. Baz, your take on Chelsea, your take on these. How many of these people on your watch list? Talk to me. I'll scoff this banana.
To be honest, it's quite similar to Scott. I know it's quite boring chat on Chelsea.
It's quite a boring team this season, though, aren't they? So
they are 17 goals and 17 conceded. Yeah, screaming out 0-0s and 1-0ers and stuff like that. Like I say, Reece James is on my list. Kepa or Mendy, goalkeeping wise, but like I say, for the differential, I'd say either Havertz, but he's a forward. There's plenty of good forwards out there, so would you risk putting him in? Probably not. Aubameyang as well, same. Would you risk it? Probably not. I think Mount would be the only probably potential differential that I would put in. I'm not definitely putting him in, because me and Scott are in the same boat. We're quite high up. For you, Alex, you might put him in as a differential to try and catch up, maybe.
Aubameyang, Sterling again, Sterling captain again.
Oh yeah, triple, is it? Yeah, on that double game week. It's
a good point, that, Baz, though, because the double game week, game week 19, right? City have Chelsea away. Who are you captaining that game week out of Fulham and Chelsea players? It's Mitrovic, isn't it? as long as he's not suspended. Like over all of the Chelsea players. So I'm not gonna, unless you want to go with Reece James, but the fixtures are so close together. I'm not so sure. I mean, there's a graphic here by Lego Mane that shows how close they are together. I mean, I can't see a Reece James coming back from injury and playing, City in the cup as well. They've got 2 days, 3 days, 2 days.
And the thing is, as well, is if you've got Mitrovic and he hasn't had a yellow card since then, he could be banned for one of them.
Of course. So if he's not had his yellow card, you sat there going, "Oh, it's a bit of a risk to then go for a guy who's going to get suspended." Then, it's. I think then in terms of who you're going to captain this game week, it could even be like Rashford at home to Bournemouth. Like it's that sort of game week where. But my point was, I'm not captaining any Chelsea players because the only one who would have captained was James, and I don't think he'll play both games.
Yeah, so, I agree.
So that's the cover the Chelsea chat. We've done all right with the Chelsea chat. The Fulham chat. It's very simple, isn't it? Mitrovic and Pereira. Southampton's a massive wait and see. Pereira's in my draft because I think he looks quite interesting in a back five that Jones is probably going to play at a wing back role. Arsenal, very interesting because the fixtures are really, really, really bad. So, and they're the best team in the league. So West Ham at home, Brighton away, Newcastle at home, Spurs away, Man U at home, followed by then Everton, Brentford at home and City at home. So the fixtures actually turn quite nicely after 22 if you don't include the City game. They actually become probably the top of the fixture ticker from 22, I think it is, onwards. But I've seen a lot of drafts which are... the top of the fixture ticker after that point. I've seen a lot of drafts that have no Arsenal in them and that only have Martinelli in them because people are scared about losing their value in him. I've kept Martinelli in here at this very moment in time, but I'm very open to losing him. Lads, and Nketiah, an option. Jesus is out. Saka, Martinelli. What have your thoughts been about Arsenal assets?
I think defensively, Arsenal have got the best clean sheet, so why wouldn't you... Yeah, they're playing. What was it again? They're playing New West Ham at home, Brighton away, and Newcastle at home. Mm-hmm. I still probably would put probably a White in there or Gabriel or like say Martinelli and gamble on Nketiah. If you need a differential, he's going to probably potentially start unless they put Martinelli up front and put Nelson on left wing. And on Odegaard as well, there's still a few options there going for him. I wouldn't be scared of the fixture list because we fought that last time before World Cup and they did really well. So I think a strong challenge. I think the Jesus injury is going to be a challenge for him. So we'll see how that works out after that because he's done his knee or something like that. So I think he might be out for a month or two. So.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I think the direct question is, and Scott, like you've not really looked at FPL yet, so you've got a bit of a clearer view on this. Forget team value, forget Martinelli point falls and all this sort of stuff. Even with those fixtures, are we being, because we're talking about former fixture, even with those fixtures, are we being stupid to not have any Arsenal in our teams?
I don't think you're being stupid. I back what I said earlier. Like, it's a bit of a reset now for me. Like, they were on an unbelievable run. They didn't know how to lose. Obviously, you can see the form guide there. But that's reset now. Like I said, some of the, they've had a few Brazil players that have gone away and suffered some heartache. Favourites for a World Cup, and you don't make it past the quarterfinals. It's an absolute underachievement for him. So I don't think you're stupid at all. We could turn around and just carry on from where they left off. But I agree with what you both said about Jesus. What a player for him. He just links the play. He does what a prime Firmino did at Liverpool. He links, he works hard, he dictates from the front. I don't think Nketiah's got that in him. I don't think he's a bad player. He had, back in the last year, he was brilliant, wasn't he? He was scoring for fun. He's got a brilliant cup record, but I don't think he's going to be that same sort of player. I don't think you're an idiot at all for leaving any Arsenal players out, because for me, I am just looking at fixtures for now.
0.8% owned, 6.5 million in Nketiah as a punt. I think it's going to be an interesting to see what people's teams are, because I think we'll see a lot of people panic about selling Martinelli because they've got him at 6 million now. He's worth 6.8, and they're selling for 6.4, and they lose 0.4. It's one of the things that doing so rubbish this year. I don't care. I've cared too much about team value. I'm not talking about care about FPL. I love FPL. I care too much. I do a podcast about it, for God's sake. But I don't care about the 0.2 or 3 in Martinelli. If I think it's the right decision to get rid of him, I'll get rid of him. Like it doesn't matter that much because he's still a bargain to buy back. So don't let that channel.
Yeah, but who would you get in if you take him out?
Well, should we talk about the shortlist? If we want, I've got my watch list here.
Saka him, won't
you? God. Oh well, Saka's on the list, but Kulusevski's got to be right up there for me.
Yeah.
I think, and when you look at Rashford is obviously being anyway. Almiron is somebody who's in there. Andreas Pereira has to be in that team as well. And then it's how many premiums you want to go for. Do you want to be in for Foden or KDB? And
Rodrigo, Leeds.
Potentially, he did score again in the pre-season.
Newcastle at home, Liverpool away, Fulham, Forest, Brighton.
Leeds are. I was going to get into
they scored 22 goals in the top 10. So,
City. I just think City and Newcastle straight back. I'm not going to put any Leeds players in straight away. That's my only thing. Those two fixtures straight away make me go. And it's West Ham at home, Villa away with an Emery team. But then Brentford and I actually don't think the Villa, Brentford, Forest, that run of 3 is not too bad. If you wanted to try and make a move on, but I wouldn't be touching Leeds the first two fixtures back.
It's an option, isn't it?
Of course,
it's mad, isn't it? I totally forgot Emery was at Villa.
This is it, isn't it? But the reset and like Lopetegui's at Wolves.
Yeah, exactly at Wolves. Yeah.
Yep.
Wolves are bottom of the league. And
is Costa the one that we need to jump on?
No, but
he's banned, isn't he? He got sent off.
He is. Well, and Jimenez is back as well. He scored a penalty in his one of the midweek games.
He had a good World Cup, didn't he? Wow.
I think Adam Traore might be a shout.
Oh, okay. And what about Kinder Bueno at the back? He's played again midweek in the League Cup game. Played 90 minutes.
I don't know. We've talked way too long on the worst team to watch in the Premier League this season.
What about Johnny? Everyone wants a Johnny.
Really need one. But Bueno's 3.9 million. He's in a lot of drafts actually, funnily enough. So if you're really struggling, he's probably the best 3.9 million option. That's covered that off nicely. And Ketty, we've discussed KDB versus Salah, right? So a lot of people, if you're going to go for a premium asset in midfield, and rather than heavy up top, then it's KDB versus Salah. So let's have a look at the fixtures. Go on, Scott. Do you say something, Scott? Sorry.
No. I've got a question for you in a second, though. You should know as an FPL guru.
No, God, probably not. Not this season. So City have got arguably better fixtures. Liverpool have only got 2 home fixtures in their next 6. That's right, in their next 6. And that's Leicester and Chelsea. They're away to Villa, Brentford, Brighton and Wolves. Salah was in better form coming towards the end of that time. He's had a break. He's scored in his midweek game. I'm not massively sold on Salah. He's not actually been in any of my drafts. I've either had KDB in my drafts or I've gone for Haaland and Kane and gone for like Foden or someone cheaper in midfield. So I think you can go without Salah. I think you can go without any Liverpool assets, to be honest. Villa away, Leicester, Brentford, Brighton would make me want to have one, and that's why I've got Darwin in my drafts. But if it's KDB versus Salah, it's KDB. That's the answer to the question for me. And do you have to have Salah? The answer is no. In my personal opinion. Lads, what's your question for me, Scott?
Well, I wanted to know, and I've just found it on Instagram, I wanted to know if you went on holiday. Because if he stayed and just got his head down and was like, I'm going to be Mo Salah, I'd have been like, you know what, we have to jump at him. But he's there in a pool. And for me, that doesn't look like the kind of guy that's going to be pulling up double-digit hauls this season. So I'll be honest, that's annoyed me. So...
Like, I don't
know. It's all right. 3 days ago, he's panicked and put one of them doing weights. That's the joke, innit? That is sickening. So now KDB all day long.
For me, I was more gutted that Diaz got injured. he was in my draft because I thought it was at 7.7 or 6 or something like that, and I thought he did really well before his injury. He was prone to come back, and then he got a setback, and I was gutted for him, to be honest. I really enjoyed watching him play.
You sent him a card, mate.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I don't know if he got it via post. It's like you getting pissed off with salary to pool.
Get well soon, Lewis.
I've messaged him, mate. I've slid into his Instagram.
Send him on Twitter. Right, so.
Yeah.
Just touch on Man United. So Forest at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home. Then they've got City and Arsenal, but 3 fantastic fixtures. I've got 2 United players in my draft. Rashford is a lock for me in mine. Don't get me wrong. I really like Bruno as a differential. I think with penalty, Ronaldo gone, he's what he's like without Ronaldo. He gets returns. With Ronaldo, he doesn't. So, and he's not too bad at just over 9 mil. But I think when I look at Anthony, I'm going to go for Rashford. If I'm going to look at Martial, I'm going to go for Rashford. If I'm going to, all of them, his goal last night was class. McTominay's assist was unbelievable. But then Rashford carried the ball 60 yards. Took it past everyone if anyone's seen it and scored. Yeah. What a goal by Rashford. He's nailed for me. Rashford a must-have. Is he not been in any of your drafts, Baz, for an example?
He's always been in mine. Yeah. Good to say, because obviously he scored against Wales, but he's just looked good. It's just easy as that. He's looked back how he's got form again. He's got the desire and passion. Because before he didn't, he just looked like he was just there for a paycheck, like most of the Man U players were.
We were terrible.
So I think he's got that energy and fight back in him to actually look a player, and he's starting to be a player now. So.
He's one of the locks in my team, absolutely. Just to go on to the third City assets, that was a question. I don't think we fully covered it, but. If let's just say Cancelo and Haaland are 2 that are definitely going to be in. I mean, KDB surely's third on that. But okay. Well, this isn't, because the next question was: is Cancelo still a must?
No, because it wasn't. It was we were on question marks over him anyway before the break, wasn't we? Because it was like it wasn't returning. This is going to make me like a mug, isn't it? But it wasn't returning as much as like he had done in previous, and he's had a really poor World Cup. He got dropped, didn't he? Like he didn't even play. Like, and so I don't think he's a must-have at all.
Walker
at 4.8. If you want access to the City defence, then
what's
not a bad shot. The rest of the
what have the Premier League games been like? Because I feel like they've been leaking at least like a little cheeky goal here and there.
Let's go on to here.
Because for me, you can stay away from him. Like a defensive asset.
Yeah, defensive assets. They have conceded.
They're the best in the league, aren't they? But 14
goals.
But most recently, they lost to Brentford.
So 3 out of the last 4 games they were conceding, and I remember that because it was annoying. And he wasn't getting as many attacking returns. So I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I'll probably be in my team, but
but again, actually, I don't think he's somebody here, which is you'll get your 18s and your 9s and your 12s and your 11s. Like those are 4 returns in 14 weeks, like big returns. So you're going to get kicked by him occasionally. It's just the way that it is because he does have those returns in him. But his points per 90 over the whole season's at 5.62. Trippier's obviously ahead at 6.51. But then if you go to the last sort of 8 game weeks, Cancelo was right the way down here at 4.65. Trippier's at 7.8, Castagne is 6.8, Amati, funnily enough, 5.7. But Ben White was at 5.5 with Gabriel at 5.5 again.
It's one of those,
Robertson was better.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it, where like if you Man City was solid, right? Well, guaranteed pretty much a clean sheet. Anything else, so how much attacking returns is going to come? And when they're not guaranteed the clean sheet, you may as well just look at the best informed defenders in the game, regardless if they play for whoever. Because, like you say, even if they're a Trippier and Newcastle are conceding, then they're fairly solid. They're Leicester, they have the leaks for fun this season. But if Man City are going to concede goals anyway, you may as well just be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, it's.
But you've just contradicted yourself by saying, yeah, the season starts again and everything like this. And
well, that's why I told you Cancelo is going to be my team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
But it was someone that I know for like the last couple of weeks going into the break. He was one that I know I was thinking, bloody hell, he's annoying me that he's not getting the attacking returns and the leaking. So from him being like Trent was last year, a mainstay, we've got to have a Cancelo. We've got to have a Cancelo. I don't think we was at that mindset beforehand, but he's, like I say, he's probably going to, I'm going to be starting him with my team, but it won't surprise me in a couple of weeks' same time if City are conceding that he comes out for a Castagna or someone like that.
If you're able to, if the difference is you can have Cancelo or not, and then you can really improve your midfield and attack. The question the question was, is Cancelo still a must? The answer is no. Yeah. So we can move on from that. Best rotating keepers I touched base on. Is it time to go big up top? So it takes us takes us to the Harry Kane situation. So Kane, Brentford away, Villa at home, Palace away. Then he's got a double game week, Arsenal at home, which he loves, City away. Then he's got Fulham away, City at home, and then Leicester away. So he's actually got some really, really good fixtures then at that point. And I think he looks like a fantastic option. He's the second highest FPL scoring asset so far this season. Richarlison's injured, so he's pretty much nailed as Kane always is. He's been in quite a few of my drafts. Baz, your take on Kane?
He's never come out of mine. Since I've put him in, he's never come in. He's consistent.
Twitter,
he don't fire blanks. He's like Haaland. So why would you take him out?
Twitter's actually against Kane in the FPL community. That's what I think.
He's got to prove a point, hasn't he? End of the day, he's missed a penalty. He's not one of them guys to shy away from it. He's going to be in the spotlight and he's still going to be banging in them goals for Spurs. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't, I'll be shocked. Put it that way.
I think that they're quite far down this
fixture. He's a goal scorer and a creator. He's a weird one. He's like a number 10 and a number 9 mixed in one. And when Son's playing well, he's even better. But he hasn't been playing well, Son. And Kulusevski has been playing very well since he came on. That's why I would have Kulusevski and Kane in my team. And that's what it's going to be in the season, because I did have Diaz and then I got rid of Diaz and I put Kulusevski in. So they're the two Tottenham assets that I would have.
I think I'm more, this double Liverpool Darwin Salah thing's not for me. I'm more the double Kane and Kulu over the double Darwin Salah. And the next 4 fixtures, I think this is quite hard. Brentford away is obviously a tough game, and so is Palace away. But Brentford Villa,
Brentford away.
Yeah, Brentford Villa and Brentford. Don't talk to me about Brentford away. But Brentford away, Villa at home, and Palace away. I think he's got 3 of the best fixtures to come back to. Kane, like I think he's in a lot of my drafts, along with United players, City players, trying to fit a Chelsea player and then a couple of Fulham players. For me, he's right up there as an option. So big up top is an option for me. Yeah, I don't disagree with it. If you did want to go ahead with it, should we stay away from Liverpool's defence? Was a question that came in. What do you think, Scott? Do you think we should throw form out the window and go back to Liverpool defence? I mean, they've got Villa, Leicester, Brentford, Brighton.
I think when you look at Liverpool defence, you want Trent or Robert, really. And are you really going to pay that price right now to get them in? Probably not. Again, it's not like, well, Robbo won out the World Cup, unlucky, and it wasn't like Trent had a great. Well, barely did he come on? Barely played, did he? No, but barely played at all at the World Cup. So no, I wouldn't be too tempted right now. I'll be sticking to what I know with your Trip. For me, stick to what you know from the season so far. Trippier, he's had decent minutes at the World Cup, and for England. You've got other defenders like Reece James. You know what you're going to get with him. Cancelo, you know what you're going to get with him. So I quite, I don't mind what you've gone for there. I wouldn't be wasting my money on Trent right now. It wouldn't be surprising me though if in a few weeks we're going, do we get Trent in for Cancelo, for example?
if you, for example, got Walker in here for just to throw this out there, and then you could could you get that to about 2.7? I think you could go Darwin to Kane, or roughly. Maybe I'm just slightly out of that. 1.1. Again, you'll have these debates. Am I better with Cancelo and Darwin versus Kane and Walker? And you'll have these conversations with yourself, and I will when I'm thinking about it. So yeah, sorry, Georgia.
I'd have Robbo over Trent.
I agree in terms of the numbers as well. If you're going to go for a Liverpool defender, it's Robbo for me.
That's it. But a good shout. He's back from injury.
It just depends on it because but Canate is obviously not going to be there, is he? I won't touch base on this because there's quite a lot of fixtures to fill in, but just to bear in mind now. So we're looking forward, and I'm going to do a bit of chip strategy further down the line because we're going to do these next 3 game weeks and be back with you sort of early January, maybe about the 10th, the 11th, maybe something like that. We'll record before game week 20, but by that there are some potential fixtures that could fit into these rounds and fixtures. In the semi-finals, for example, a lot of them aren't needing to be televised, these rescheduled Premier League games. So some could fit into game week 21. There is a potential that Brighton could have a triple game week in game week 21 because they've got a couple of fixtures to rearrange and both of them aren't on TV. So if they need to clash with the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, they can. They're out of the semi-finals. The fixtures they need to rearrange are out. There's a chance they could have a triple game week and they'd be well spaced out. But anyway, we will have a look at the chip strategy, probably the next podcast that we do. But yeah, just keep an eye for fixtures because double game weeks can drop in here and there. We've got quite a handful of fixtures to rearrange. So just keep an eye on the schedule and follow Ben Crellin. This is the time of the season when he comes into his own. This sort of stuff is just, I'm never doing this. Yeah. So he's got the ability to produce these fantastic graphics and we can look at all of these bits and bats. But yeah, looking longer term, keep hold of your chips for now and we'll address that further down the line. But yeah, also have a tinker, get yourself on FPL team. You don't have to create an account or anything. You literally go on to plan and then type your team ID in and you can tinker as much as you want to. You can have a look forward to what your team will look like in any of these other game weeks. I think and play with your captaincy as well to see what you think. 2 things. So I'm conscious we've run over the hour and a bit here. And I didn't want to drag this on too long because people want to listen to this before they have the Christmas dinner. They might even put it on with their family. Actually, yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. If you're sitting there with your grandma right now, listening to the podcast, yeah, fantastic stuff. Differentials. So I went through my watch list and the usual suspects on there: Cancelo, Robbo, Trips, James, Walker, Shaw, Salah, KDB, Foden, Maddison, all these players. But differentials. So I came up with a 15 that are under 10% owned. So De Gea and Kepa 7.5 and 2.8% owned. Robbo at 5.2. Walker at 3.5. Shaw at 2.6. Perot at 0.6. And also, Lindelof's going to play, by the way, for United the next 3 weeks. So if you are looking to go hard attack at these 3 matches, he's 4.3 million, he's 0.1% owned, and he's going to play. We played him and Casemiro at centre-back last night.
How long's Martinez partying for?
I think he's still there, isn't he?
3 weeks.
He'll be out. Well, it's 3 game weeks and it's 3 matches in the space of a week. Basically.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but yeah, just to think about that. Midfield, Kulusevski at 4.9, Mount at 6.6, Anthony at 4.5, Bruno Fernandes at 2.6. And there are players like Joe Willock, for example, who's like 0.5 and whatever, but I just put a cheap midfielder in there to make up the bench. And then up front, Anthony Martial at 2.4. You've got Che Adams 1.2, Ings 1.6, and then Nketiah at 0.8. So you have some real differentials in there that you could look at.
I like Pasandaka.
That's nice. Have you sent him a card as well?
No, I mean Pasandaka. Is he injured?
Yeah, he's got his own, mate.
He's just no, he's not. He's just rotating, isn't he? He's
I think I haven't seen he was injured. I thought
he's in rehab, mate, with Jesus. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, let's what Daka. So what's his ownership? I don't know. Probably pretty low as well. I thought.
No, obviously we're dragging over time, right? But I just thought he was quite a good differential.
Yeah, 1.15.7. Problems with Leicester, they've got Newcastle and Liverpool when you first come back. So again, I'm not looking.
Leicester score goals, don't
they? They do, yeah. I think again for me, I look at these teams and I think, generally speaking, if I'm building a draft, I'm double or triple City. I've got a piece of Chelsea in there. I've got a piece of Fulham in there. I might have some Arsenal, but I might take a view on them. I've got at least double Man United. My cheap bench players are probably coming from Pereira, Patterson, Ward, and one other. And then I'm going to have Kulu or Kane in my team probably. One or the other maybe. Even though my draft doesn't have either of them at the moment. I'm there, but it's probably going to have one of those guys in. So yeah, that's where I was at with it. So fixtures. Conscious, I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. We're going to do 3 game weeks to cover off, and it's really easy because they're basically 3 Haaland captains. But the deadline is Monday the 26th of December. That's Boxing Day at 11 a.m. So before you tuck into your leftover turkey sandwiches and pigs in blankets, these are the games. They're all on Prime. So it's 12:30 Brentford against Spurs. And it finishes off with Wednesday the 28th, which is at Ellen Road, under the lights, City play Leeds. So excited to watch Haaland there. I think he'd do really, really well. Any other standout candidates, boys? Obviously, you won't go for the early kickoff for Kane. Villa are playing Emery at Villa Park. So difficult.
Man United, you've got to look at Man United there, surely. If you've got your Rashford in, or if you've gone for Bruno, for me, I would be looking at Man United over Man City.
You think so? So
I just always think Ellen Roads is really. I don't know if it's because I've lived in Leeds this long now. I'm the bias is just all over me, but
brainwashed by Leeds fans.
I just think that Ellen Road game, like you say, under the lights, I think that's a really tough game for City.
Whereas maybe Rashford against Forest.
Yeah, just at home to Forest. You know me, I love my home fixtures, so
I'll be watching whatever Alan McCoy is commentating on, to be honest.
Oh, he's on Prime, isn't he? So I'll be loving it.
Yeah.
He's doing all of these.
I'll send him a card as well.
I'm still waiting for my card.
This week, you've got City at home to Everton at a 3:00 kickoff on the 31st of December. Any other standout fixtures? Spurs at home to Villa, maybe. Chelsea away to Forest. No.
Liverpool, Leicester.
No. Liverpool, Salah against Leicester. Anything else here? Man United playing bottom of the league.
Definitely going to say that game.
Nitro, Fulham, Southampton.
Southampton.
You don't
do it. Bet you don't go Rashford.
I bet I do.
Yeah, do it. I like that. I thought you weren't taking any risks.
I don't think that's a risk.
Kick-off Saturday.
I'll tell you what.
No, not this game. Bloody hell, I'm not going to.
I'll tell you straight up. It's a risk, not going Haaland, whether you think he's going to bag or not, because I've gone against him 4 times and he's got 3 hat-tricks.
He's been on holidays. He's been on holidays, so that's annoyed me. I don't think any of them should have gone on holiday. It's a joke.
Game week 19 is one where it could be definitely a differential, because Chelsea have got double game week, Fulham have got double game week. So Mitro is an option, and any Chelsea player if you wanted to go with James for an example. But Man United at home to Bournemouth for Rashford or whatever else.
100% Rashford again.
Yeah. So you've gone Rashford, Haaland.
I might get Rashford.
Leave your team.
Yeah.
That's what Alex has done for so many weeks, hasn't he?
Dead team. Early kickoff on a Saturday. You're never going Rashford. You're going Rashford, Haaland, Rashford. You or Rashford, Haaland, Mitrovic.
Sorry, did Mitrovic score like 20 goals in the World Cup? I think everyone needs to just chill out a bit.
Away to Leicester.
Yeah, he's talking cheddar.
And then to be fair, away to Leicester and at home against Chelsea.
Yeah,
easy games.
Horrendous. If you go Mitrovic, you need to delete your team.
That could be a great excuse for me to delete my team. Start again.
You might be on more points.
I really want to try and win that game week 20 mini league. You know, the people that join in game week 20, so they have like a separate mini league, don't they? Like so you know what it says on your league. I taught someone this, by the way. Do you even know this?
No.
So you go in leagues and cups. So this is game week 1. That's because that's the game week you join the actual game.
No.
So for all of these people that join like later, they can try and win this mini league.
So when are you joining?
Oh, I'm going to rejoin in game week 20 after I've captained Mitrovic in a double game week, and he gets suspended in the first one with a red card.
I think you deserve that, to be fair.
Yeah. But boys, thank you ever so much. Hopefully we've covered everything. I think we've answered every single question. Yes, I think we have anyway. I'm sure I'll get told if not. But deadline is Boxing Day at 11 a.m. So make sure you get your teams in by then. Boys, thank you so much for joining me on this bumper edition of the Fantasy Premier League, All in Football Fantasy Premier League podcast show. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, to our videos, to our podcasts. And we'll be back with you after game week 19, where we'll be previewing probably some chip strategy, some more double game weeks, and going through this. So happy tinkering. Thanks ever so much for joining us. And
have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Absolutely Merry Christmas to all the family who are listening together around the campfire, not outside, around the log burner. And Scott, happy tinkering. I hope you're looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to 10 o'clock on Boxing Day when I'm going to be doing my team.
Cheers, lads. See you later.
Yeah.